Hi, weebs, geeks, and LGBTQ peeps! Today we are doing the one thing in life I messed that up. Today we are doing the one thing in life I can't control because you guys voted for that one. If you want to decide what the next fanfiction reading is, go over to the community tab and vote. Here's the next one. Oliver Wood is winning. Like, really winning. He's winning. Give Steve Harrington a chance, guys. He's been in the run for like 3 polls now and lost every time. Every time. He doesn't deserve that. But I love Oliver, so it's fine. Actually, not gonna lie. I like Oliver's character, but I always forgot his name. I could just see a lot of people just going, how dare you? Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, this fanfiction is linked in the description below if you want to go check it out, and the music in this video if you like lo-fi beats music, you know, we all like that, we all like it, it's nice, the videos wouldn't be the same without it, and yeah, make sure to go support the author because we love authors in this community, and let's get into this. Mwah! I've been kissing everyone at the end of at the end of my intros now, so I guess that's the thing now, so mwah! Okay. Shay was proud to say that she made friendships and maintained them. Granted, it was only 2, but that didn't matter. It was better than nothing. Winter passed by quickly once Lob arrived back, all worries for his recovery finally vanishing from the girl's mind. It was the morning of March 6, 2017, a Monday, when Shay came downstairs in the morning to head off to school and was met with a cheery greeting. "Good morning, Shay." The teenager spun towards the voice and her eyes widened as her face broke out into a grin. "Lob, you're back! You're okay!" Lob shrugged. "As good as I can be, I guess." He lifted his left arm from behind the desk to show that there was only a stub that ended at his wrist. "They had to get rid of the hand. It was infected anyway." Shay felt her heart sink. "I'm so sorry, Lob." "It's fine." The man waved her off. "At least I'm right-handed, am I right?" Shay released a small giggle and he seemed proud of himself. "See you later, Lob." "See ya, Shay." It was the first week of April when Shay was properly introduced to Michelle, MJ Jones. Peter had elected to get closer to the mysterious girl much sooner than he had the first time around, and Shay followed suit. "Who are you?" MJ asked when Shay took a seat at the lunch table after being absent for a few days. Peter raised an eyebrow. "MJ, you notice everyone. How did you not know Shay?" "I notice those that I feel I have a reason to." "But that's normally everyone." "Apparently not her." After MJ had gone over the closest thing to her being startled that Peter had ever seen, she readily accepted Shay as her companion. 2 weeks later, on a Friday as Shay sat in her apartment, her body squished into the couch. She said to her friend sitting at her table without looking up from her book, "I think my powers acted up again today." Peter's eyes flew to her, his eyebrows flying up. "Really?" "Yeah," she nodded. "I was walking home from school when there was this blue flash of light and suddenly I was here." She gestured around her living room. "Really?" Peter questioned. "Yeah," she confirmed once again. "Should this go on the list?" Peter nodded. "It's been a while since we updated that." "I don't know if that should be considered a good thing or a bad thing," the girl commented. "Alice, can you pull up the list?"
"I've already done it,"
came the British-voiced AI's reply. Peter pulled himself from the chair and perched himself on the arm of the couch as he turned on the television screen. It flickered for a moment before words began to appear on the screen. Alice's voice read them off as they went.
"The list. Heightened eyesight. Heightened hearing. Slightly heightened smell. On-off. Slightly heightened taste. On-off. Slightly heightened touch. On-off. Rest time? Investigate further." Purple-colored energy pulses. Extreme emotions. Control possible? Question mark. Green vision. Danger sense? Question mark.
The list had been composed by the two enhanced teens the week after Shay had met Ned. It was a list of all of Shay's powers that they had figured out so far. The taste had come into play when they were eating lunch one day, and she was suddenly able to list off every ingredient in her school cookie. At least, the one she knew by name. It had been a weird experience, one thankfully never occurring again since then. Alice, add possible random teleportation to the list, please, the girl requested.
You got it, Shay,
the AI said, following through a moment later as the teen's exact words appeared on the screen. Thanks, Al. Peter, who now had his homework on his lap and was using a textbook to support it, commented. May was wondering if you wanted to come to dinner tonight. He stuck the end of his tongue out the corner of his mouth as he erased down an answer and scribbled down another. Sounds great, Shay replied. Can I cook? Peter chuckled. I think she was banking on that. The teenager tilted her head back and laughed before nodding. I'll be there then. They worked on homework after that, bouncing answers off of one another before Alice announced,
Incoming call from May Parker.
Answer it, please, Al. There was a pause, and then a muffled noise filled the room, followed by May's voice.
Hello?
Hi, Miss Parker, Shay exclaimed. Hey, May, Peter greeted as well.
Hello, you two.
The teens could pretty much hear the smile in her words.
I'm about 5 minutes away. Shay, are you coming for dinner?
Totally, Miss Parker, the girl replied. Peter already talked to me about it, and I agreed.
Great. I got groceries a few days ago, so there should be some stuff for you to make whatever you want.
Sounds good, Shay said. See you in a few minutes.
You got it.
May confirmed. Bye.
Bye.
The line went dead a moment later. Shay pulled herself off the couch and Peter hopped from the armrest as well, both beginning to gather things into their backpacks. I can't find my phone, Peter commented as he dug through his bag. Got it, Shay responded, grabbing the device from where it was barely visible between two couch cushions and throwing it aimlessly towards him. Peter caught it without looking. Spidey senses were great that way, and stuffed it into his hoodie pocket. The girl asked a moment later, Is my calculator over there? Yep. Peter took the item from the table and tossed it gently to her. Shay grabbed it from the air before spinning around and shoving it into her bag, zipping it up a moment later. You ready to go? Shay asked as Peter closed up his own backpack. Yep, the boy said again. Shay grinned and led the way to the door. Turn the lights off, Alice, she said as she pulled on her jacket and slipped her bag over her shoulder.
Don't I always?
That's why I love you, Al. Shay laughed as she opened the door. See you later. Bye, Alice. Peter tossed over his shoulder as he followed his friend out. Shay closed the door and pulled her key from her pocket to lock it. When she was satisfied with it, the girl placed the key back away and went to the elevator. Peter was holding it open for her. Thanks for waiting for me, Shay said as the metal doors closed and the whirring of the old elevator started. When do I not? Peter questioned. Point taken. The elevator dinged and showed that they were on the first floor. The door slowly opened and both teens stepped out and into the lobby. Hey, it's Shay! Lob's voice came from the front desk. And Parker! To be expected. Hey, Lob, Shay greeted, flashing the man a smile. Hello, Mr. Lob. Just Lob, Parker, he stated. Using Mr. on a nickname is just weird. Sure thing, Peter nodded before grinning evilly. Mr. Lob. Shay busted into a fit of giggles and Lob groaned and pointed to the front doors of the building with his right hand. Your aunt's outside. Get out of my building, Parker. And take Shay with you. Peter nodded. Yes, sir, Mr. Lob, sir. The teenagers moved quickly to the doors, both still smiling as they pushed them open and descended the steps to where May's car sat waiting. Welcome to May's car, the woman said as the teens slid into the back seat and closed the doors behind them. Please keep all arms, legs, and heads inside of the vehicles at all times, and be sure to enjoy your ride. Seatbelts, everyone! May had been saying that line from the Magic School Bus every time she picked up Shay since the day the two met, and it still brought a smile onto the girl's face. Both friends buckled themselves in and confirmed that they were with May. This gained a smile from her as she pressed down on the pedal and pulled away from the curb and into the street. "How was school, Shay?" May asked, peering at the girl through the mirror as she turned a corner. "It was good, Miss Parker. How was your day?" "I'd say it went all right," May replied. "One of my co-workers was late, so I had to do his job as well. Other than that, though, it was pretty good." "Hey, what about me?" Peter found two pairs of eyes on him for a moment, staring at him before May turned her attention back to the road and said, "Anyway, Shay," before I was so rudely interrupted. "May!" Peter whined. May grinned cheekily as Shay laughed. "I'm just kidding, sweetie. How was your day?" Peter sighed and crossed his arms. "See, now it's lost its effect." Shay laughed again and May joined in. Peter pouted for a moment more before he couldn't help but laugh as well. "What are you thinking about making?" Shay jumped up with a shriek as Peter chuckled at her misfortune. She took a gasping breath in before glaring and smacking him on the shoulder. "Don't do that!" Peter grinned. "Sorry, seriously though, what are you thinking about making?" Shay turned back to the counter in front of her and bit her lip as she thought. Finally, she said, "I'm not sure." "You should make those casseroles from that one night," Peter started. "Or those bow ties with broccoli," May added as she joined them in the kitchen as well. The girl turned to the other two. "What am I, your personal chef?"
Yes.
Aunt and nephew responded in sync. Shay groaned as her companions shared a smile with one another. "How about nachos?" she finally suggested. "Sounds great!" May exclaims as she waved past the teens and took a glass out of the cabinet, filling it up with water from the sink. "Yeah, nachos would be cool," Peter nodded. Shay flashed a smile before turning to the fridge and pulling out a few ingredients. May left the living room, leaving Peter and Shay alone in the kitchen together. "Shay?" Peter asked, his voice low. "Yeah?" she responded quietly, taking the hint from him. "I think I should tell May about Spider-Man tonight." Shay visibly froze before she turned to him with scrunched eyebrows and wide orbs and asked, "Are you sure, Peter? What if she takes it badly?" "She was fine last time," Peter said. "I need to tell her. She needs to know." Shay stared at him for a few moments, nibbling her lip before she said, "I agree. Plus, it's your choice either way." "We're in this together now, Shay," Peter said firmly. "We have been since we've met, and you didn't share my secret, since you've literally died to save my life. And these last 2 months have only solidified that." Shay's eyes locked with his as she gazed at him for a few moments before dropping the cheese bag she held in her hand, springing onto him in a hug. Peter's cheeks went red for a moment before he wrapped his arms around her as well and returned the gesture. Shay sighed and backed away, her face slightly flushed, but a smile on her lips. "Thank you, Peter." Peter blinked at her before smiling. "Of course." The girl took the cheese back into her hand while using the other to push him out of the kitchen. "Now get out! I have things to do and I cannot have you breathing over my neck." Peter laughed and raised his hands up, portraying innocence. "I'm going, Shay, I'm going." "You definitely need to make these again, sweetie," May said when she finished another bite of her food. "Miss Parker, I'm sure you can make this. It's kinda hard to mess up nachos." May hummed before stating, "You'd be surprised." Peter swallowed his last bit and placed the plate onto the coffee table in front of them. As Shay took another bite, she could see her friend gulp beside her and tense a bit. He was nervous about something, and she had an idea of what that was. "Aunt May?" The woman in question looked up at her nephew as she set her own empty plate down. "I have something to tell you." "What is it, sweetie?" Peter glanced at Shay, avoiding May's gaze, before he said, "Just don't be mad." May chuckled. "I could never be mad at you, Petey." Peter got up to his feet and took a deep breath before he did the same thing he had to 2 months ago with Ned and jumped to the ceiling. His fingers gripped it and he quickly pulled himself up to where he was upside down and looking at the stunned face of his aunt. May's lips were parted and her face was pale. "May?" Peter asked tentatively. He wondered if this was a mistake. What if she didn't want him anymore? "You're Spider-Man," the woman whispered after a few moments of tense silence. Peter dropped back down to the ground and looked at his feet. I am. May turned to the girl who'd stacked her finished plate on top of the other two. Shay, you knew? Shay bit her lip hard, but nodded slowly. I did. I'm sorry, Miss Parker. May placed a hand to her forehead and sank into the couch. Her hand fell farther down her face and covered her eyes. The woman took shaky breaths for a few minutes, saying nothing as the teens watched her every move with bated breath. Peter tried to swallow past the lump in his throat but couldn't. The boy soon felt hot drops of water leak from his eyes and make their way slightly down his cheeks, leaving wet trails on the skin behind them. May uncovered her eyes and glanced at her nephew. She released a sigh. Oh, Peter. The woman stood and opened her arms. Peter moved into them quickly and wrapped his tightly around her. His aunt stroked his hair and exhaled slowly. You don't hate me? Peter asked after a moment. Oh, sweetheart. May placed a hand on each shoulder and extended her arm so he was looking her in the eye. I could never hate you. I'm hurt that you didn't tell me before, but I understand. It's all right. Peter wiped his eyes before he whispered, I could have saved Ben. The words were barely audible, but May heard them all the same. Her arms fell and her face blanched. What? Shay muttered. It happened the week I caught my powers from a spider bite on the Oscorp field trip. I was finally feeling better and I knew I had powers from the bite. And when the guy came in with the gun, I didn't know what to do and... Peter gritted his teeth and squeezed his eyes shut as he released a strange sound. It's all my fault he's dead. May breathed in, tears now streaming down her face as well. She moved quickly, taking her nephew back into an embrace again. He returned it, his grip tighter than the one before as they both trembled. Peter from his sobs and May from the breath she was trying to keep under control. It's not your fault, she muttered after a minute. It never was and it will never be. It was bad luck. You didn't know, Peter. It's not your fault. I love you, and I do wish Ben was still here. But there was nothing you could have done. But... She hushed him. No, Peter. No buts. There was nothing you could have done. Peter nodded after a moment, and they finally released. May smiled at him. He returned it, though strained, and she stared into his red eyes for a moment before stating, Let's watch Star Wars. Peter let out a single laugh. But May, you never watched Star Wars. May shrugged and patted the spot next to her on the couch. Let's watch Star Wars. Peter grinned and nodded, hopping next to his aunt and snuggling in next to her. What happened to Shay? May asked after a few moments had passed. I don't know. Peter picked up his phone to see a new message from her. He swiped across the cracked screen to read it. 6:46 p.m. Shay. Left while you and May were talking. Felt like I was intruding or something. See you Monday. Peter. Thanks. May took it well. Not mad. Tell you about it then. Shay. 'Kay. Peter snuggled further into his aunt beside him and let out a small breath as she wrapped her arms around his shoulder. She wasn't mad. For now, everything was fine. Oh, we got a blush. We got a blush. They were both blushing. That is progress. We are making progress, ladies and gentlemen. We are making progress. Wow. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. I love this one. This is a good chapter. Chapter 20. Best one yet. Can't wait for the next one. Yeah, this was good. This was really good. I was reading the scene with May and Peter Parker, and I was like, this has to be awkward for Shay. She must, like, she's just standing in the corner watching them cry. That like, it's awkward when you're at your friend's house and the parents get mad at their kid and they yell at your friend, and then you're kind of just there like, ooh, I don't know what to do. That's the same kind of energy I was getting from that. But then she left, so I guess it was fine. But it was like, ooh. But I really like this. This was a good chapter. This is good. This is good. This is good. If you like this video, please, you can leave a like or subscribe. Either one works, or both. Wow, or both. Just do both. It's fine. Just do them. I hope to see you guys in the next one, and have a nice day, or a night, or whatever time you're watching this. Bye!